Hey guys, welcome back to another channel video, and on today we're going to be talking about my Awdry Diarama entry. Yes, now I've only had time to do this now because I have been busy with work and dealing with bullshit on Diarama on Discord. Sorry for the language for kids watching. It's being that bad, I've actually said bullshit. Alright, so we're gonna get underway here. So, as most of you know, if you have Discord, or know me IRL, you would have known I was going to take part in the Teleklin Railway Series weekend for the Teleklin Awdry Extravaganza 5. Now, they were holding a diorama contest, where you had to make a diorama, or a physical diorama, with a base measuring roughly 30 centimeters by 30 centimeters or smaller, and it must be no more than 30 centimeters in height. They weren't accepting digital entries for the challenge. The entry must have been a recreation of an illustration from one of the 42 Railway Series books. Your submitted entry must include 2 photos, one with a ruler showing the whole diorama, and one that recreates the illustration. Entries must be submitted before the 11:59 p.m. British Standard Time on the 30th of June. You may only submit one entry via Google Form, but may resubmit via email if your first entry is not approved. All entries will be featured during the event's Saturday livestream on the Teleklin Railways YouTube channel. By submitting your entry, you give your permission for your diorama to be shown during the livestream. So, on the 31st of June, I got a DM from one of my friends on Instagram, Super Henry and Mr. Baker. Now, he said he had entered the Awdry Extravaganza 5, along with 2 of my other friends. Now, I was going to enter, but then I realized we only have 1 week left to enter. So, I decided to make my entry based on the book Thomas and the Great Railway Show, from the story Museum Piece, where Thomas hits the crossing gates in the story. Now, what I was planning back on the 30th of June, I was planning out what I was going to do with it. Now, I decided I was going to do the gate smash from the Great Railway Show book, which is the one I just said that has Thomas at the crossing, with his gate up on his running board. Now, my original plan was I was going to do this with my 1 buffer paper-faced turtle I got from my friend Henry. And then I asked him, did they reckon that the take-along deluxe set Thomas and special letter buffer could work as a crossing gate? Now, people said that the size of that gate was a bit too high up for the Erdl, which I kinda agreed with when I saw the measurement myself. And after a bit of trial and error and playing around with different merch lines to see which one looks better, I finalized on Tommy and Trackmaster. Now, Thomas was at work at the time with me, and I had just gotten a cardboard box for a donation. So I quickly measured out the box, which was 32 by 31, and carefully cut it down to 30 by 30. And with the spare cardboard that I had cut it off from the box, had gone on to Thomas for a test gate fit, which didn't look right with cardboard, but it was a good temporary placeholder to see what it would look like. I also used the Play Rail Thomas for this from the set Thomas and the Shaking Bridge from 2009, with his eyes looking down, which made it look more cool. I made the face out of blue tack. The eyebrows and mouth were made from a Sharpie. I had also, before I started this diorama, had won a big lot of Hit Toys Trackmaster tack. Yeah, so I then measured up the box to see what it would look like. And surprise, surprise, it was a perfect fit. So once I was happy, I took the box home, put some track down, and started to plan out what it was going to look like. I chose 2 long straights of Hit Toys and 2 short straights of Hit Toys. I then asked one of my friends on Discord what I should make the crossing gate out of. A friend on a group chat I was in suggested I use matchsticks. So I went to a $2 shop and grabbed a box of matchsticks. So I tested it out, and did it look good on Thomas with matchsticks. Next, after the gates were being made, I laid some cardboard on the middle of the track to mimic a road crossing like in the book. Now, this would get updated a couple weeks later. So after testing Thomas with the crossing gate again on the road and having some smashed up gate pieces made out of snapped up matchsticks to imitate some broken wood, and a cardboard circle for the crossing circle on the gate, I was happy, and it was temporarily put on. I then tried to compare the illustration in the background and what it was going to look like. And once happy, I bought some paint pens, some newspaper, some PVA glue, and that, and made my gates. But what I didn't know was during the gluing of the box, because the bottom on the track of the box, facing nearest towards the out of the box, was actually not glued down properly with glue stick, as it was not strong enough. So I used PVA, which also failed with the glue I was using at the time, which was Elmer's glue, meaning I had to go back to the $2 shop and grab more. But that wouldn't be the next issue after that glue had dried and done a good job. I then also had problems with the paint I was using. The paint pen I was using, every time I was trying to paint the Hit Toys track, would always explode near the end of it. So I finally did manage to get it done in paint pen, but it just kept exploding, and then I had to take it back, and I don't know why, but maybe it was the factory that made these, or maybe it was a shipment that was made bad, but yeah, so I painted the back of the sky with an outline of this box that I had made, using some pencil and some ruler. So I painted the sky a dark blue to imitate a storm, while out sketching the track to where I was going to place it, because at the time the track was not glued. I then read back a couple pages of where the station was meant to be located, where Thomas has his crash, where it was outside of Skipton, outside of York. So in between the middle there, I read the last 2 pages, which were Thomas getting his drink at Skipton, and then the signalman discovering the wind blowing his gate. I then noticed something that annoyed me. The gates in the book were stoned. Now, I hated that design. So I was planning out what I was going to do with it. So, note that everything I've just talked about has been ongoing. So since Thomas's cardboard gate being on the 1st of July, planning were all done on the 1st. The second day was me planning out the book to get the side by side and making up the guides and then reading up the notes. The third, saw the first diversion of the gates, all dried at 8:25 in the morning. I was very happy with the gate. I took some different angles to see what it looked like, and it looked epic. Now, it doesn't look completed because it's not, because I still had to paint the gates white, and it did look a bit rushed on some of the edges. I began to outline in black Sharpie where the hill would stop, and started to paint it up. I then added, with some black paint or Sharpie, some black clouds, because as in the book, Thomas's crush does not involve any clouds, as it is just dark, clear blue sky. I then painted by hand the mountain and the blue faraway mountain. The dark gray was also blended in to make it look cleaner. On the 4th of July. Now, the diorama was beginning to take shape. I also took inspiration 3 days later on what things I should make for around the crossing gates. I used photos from around my city where I live, from a little suburb just down the road from me. I saw some brick walls at a supermarket's gas station, which inspired me to go that gray. I then looked around at the same $2 shop I got my matchsticks at. Now, they didn't have any bricks, like miniature building, so I was looking and discovered they had some picket fences. I tried these, and that was love at first sight. The diorama looked way better with the picket fences. I had also, at the time, glued the track down to the ground of the box. The gates were now on the picket fence, drying, and the level crossing gate that Thomas had on his buffer was also glued. I used a Trackmaster Hit Toys Percy, which is broken by the way, so don't get all hissy and pissy saying, "Oh, you ruined the Hit Toys Percy, blah blah blah." Well, I'm sorry, but when I got him, he wasn't working, and the switch was actually corroded. So don't blame me here, guys. So while the glue was drying, I decided to make a short video meme of Thomas hitting the garden gate, like life is a highway, in the background. I also, that day, was also just getting bored, and wanted to show it off. The color I chose for the track, as it's not the normal color, was a beige color. The first day of the 10th of July 2025, I was at my model train club, and they suggested that I should put some HO scaled trees down onto the diorama. So I took the advice, and man did that bring up the diorama a little bit. With that little bit of scenery, the diorama looked like something out of the book, with us just having a little bit of bushes. I also laid some bells down onto the diorama to bring it a bit more alive. And I have to say, putting the bells down to the track was pretty cool. They also suggested to me that if this was a real train track in the world, that I should have put a bit of metal piece of cardboard into the middle of the track for the crossing. So I took home some notes from that club night. I also painted the fence beige as well. Thomas was also getting a bit of damage while waiting on the diorama. Thomas was goosing his eyebrows and details on the buffer. I also glued down a Tommy signal in the back to give it a bit more realism that this was a crossing. Because in the book, it is stated that Thomas passes a signal and then hears it going to danger, sliding down the rails and smashing into the gate. I also brought following Thursday, before Train Club, back to the $2 shop and bought some fake grass from a friend at a bookstore I go to normally on a daily basis. He gave it to me for free. And I also bought some trees for the $2 shop for the background, which brought out more of the diorama. Then I woke up to a really, really heart-damaging surprise. I saw something that made my heart sink. Sunday the 20th of July at 8:15, the Teleclin Railway announced the Awdry Extravaganza 2025 Diarama winners, and I was so sad that my hard work in the last 2 weeks had been wasted, but I didn't let that stop me doing this. So, as I said, congratulations to the winners of the Teleclin Railway Diorama Challenge winners. I'm actually friends with 2 of them that won. So, a huge win, and I can't wait to see what they sent you. So, back to the video. So, one of my friends here made a Pop Goes to Diesel entry using 2 Tony models and a paperback sky, which looks good. So, I congratulated him. So that Thursday that I just mentioned before the Awdry winners were announced, my club was also throwing out some HO stuff. I found an HO figurine in the bin, so I rescued it and brought it home. And it was perfectly scaled to Thomas like the guy was in the book. I also planted some moss rock around the picket fences to make it look like it's got the older look, and it brought it up. They also suggested to me that I should paint the sides of the boxes so it didn't look too boring. So I started production. I had also bought a piece of long grass from the club to cover up all the hedges in the illustration to give it the more 3D look. And man, did it lift it a lot. So after painting the entire box Sunday the 27th of July at 11:25 at night, on one side, I was happy and glued the figurine of the HO Man down. Next Thursday at 12:56, we had a storm brewing in the sky, and I looked up at the sky and wondered, would this look good on the diorama for like the clouds and that color? So I took home and painted up the side of the box with some darker gray on one side. I then painted the crossing gate at the train club in a wood white paint, which was a bad idea at the time when I realized this because the paint wasn't quick drying. It actually took a few days, so it was kind of sad. You may have also noticed that during this, the crossing gates have actually changed. The reason why this is because I had accidentally misplaced the crossing gate somewhere, and it was accidentally thrown out. So I had to make a brand new crossing gate from scratch, which really hurt me because I had put a lot of time and effort into this gate. So while we waited, I planted more trees that I found at the club. I then made a brand new crossing gate, trying to get it in scale with Thomas. At last, the crossing gate was now starting to take shape, and I was becoming happy. On the 31st of July, the brand new crossing was inserted at 10:32 on Thursday, the 31st of July. On the 2nd of August 2025 at 5:20, the second part of the box was painted using what mentioned earlier of my suburb sky when we had the storm being on the right side of the box, being a darker blue mixed with white puffy clouds and a green hilly backdrop. I had also put in more bushes behind Thomas and painted more clouds on the other side of the box to merge it in. I had mixed 2 colors up using titanium white and Fenegno blue, which were from the Value Series Studios. They were numbered 104 and 450. If you're wondering how I made my blue. At the same time I had made this, on the 2nd of August 2025 at 11:18, my engine roll call trains remake was also being worked on at the time. So I kinda got a bit distracted with 2 projects at once. And thank you so much for 48 plus likes on the video, guys. That's incredible. I didn't think I was gonna get that many likes on it. So back to the diorama. The next Thursday, on the 7th of August 2025 at 10:27, I had planted grass that night at the club to put on the side of the box to give it the more grassy hill effect. And it looks super epic with grass. I had also painted Thomas's buffer red, as I didn't feel right snapping it off, as this Thomas is also used at the Diarama Model Train Show every year. My next plan was going to be tricky, as I had planted grass in the corners of the diorama as well to start me off. Now the next problem was, I had hedges and 2 empty spots on the diorama I still needed to fill with grass. Thomas's gate looked awesome with this new paint job, which was also helped painted by my best friend from school, as he helped build this. The grass was laid and painted. The gates were also glued down onto the tracks, and the gate was smashed up more to give it the more broken look. I painted the gates in a titanium white, I then looked at the book and what I was going to do, while using it for reference this entire time. So what I did was, I used the book for reference. I didn't just guess where everything went. I actually copied it page for page. The next time we saw an IRL photo, so the 10th of August was the painting, and then 4 days later, we had another storm brewing, with clouds being white. I thought it looked epic and wanted to put more clouds in, but realized it was fine by the time I got there. On Thursday, the 14th of August at night at 9:19, more grass had been planted, but this time on both sides of the diorama. The diorama was starting to take shape in what I wanted it to look like. The middle piece of cardboard that was making the crossing was also inserted and glued that night as well. The diorama took 24 hours to dry, and quite a lot of glue, as seen here, to hold everything down. What was used was also PVA glue, but a stronger one, but it was a slower dryer. The crossing gates behind the track that wasn't broken was also painted that night in a titanium white. On Thursday the 14th, I fixed up the crossing gate that Thomas had smashed into one final time. And on the 16th of August at 10:37, 7 weeks, 3 days later, with the engine record uploaded, the crossing gates were painted that Thomas had smashed into. I gave the crossing gates one last coat of paint. I found some cotton buds at a $2 shop and made some steam from that to give Thomas a bit of an idle look with being held with some glue tack. I painted the buffers to give them a bit more of an older smashed look. The figurine was also repainted, and I had also given Thomas some cotton buds down by the wheels to give some effect of him steaming. I showed this off in a Discord server, and everyone seemed to be impressed. So, it is a bummer that this entry did not make it to the Awdry Extravaganza 5, with the amount of effort and everything was put into it. And Telly Lynn had also gotten back to me about the next year Awdry Extravaganza. Now, as most of you know, it is not happening. I had asked them if the Diarama challenge was still going ahead, and they responded to me a week later saying this, and I quote, "Hi there, we're sorry for not getting back to you sooner. As the message says, we don't have a dedicated person looking at our messages over the weekend. But I am sorry we didn't get back to you during the week. At the moment, there are no plans for a Diarama challenge next year. Apologies if this is not what you wanted to hear. but keep an eye out on our social, as we're still a way off next year yet, and things may change. I then showed the Kelly Lynn Railway my diorama, and said how disappointed I had been missing this year's deadline, as I'd spent so much time, effort, and money onto this, and thanking them for giving me the information. I told them that the diorama had taken 7 weeks and 3 days to complete, and asked them if I could buy something off the website, which I might not be at the moment because I haven't got $50 to spend on a DVD of Awdry's layout. I do want to buy it, but it's on at the moment due to financial issues. They apologize, saying that they're very sorry you missed the deadline. The diorama looks excellent, which made me feel so much better that I had impressed Kelly Lynn Railway with my accurate book illustration, handmade by me, that took 7 and 3 days worth of work. So they said they were very sorry that I had missed the deadline, and said that my diorama had looked excellent. So after I heard that, I felt so much better and not feeling like I had wasted my time making the diorama. I then realized, while they were messaging me, that it wasn't about the diorama or the deadline. It was about the fun and the adventure I had making it, as this was my first ever model diorama, as I had never made a physical diorama before. And I have to say, for a first time, I think I really knocked this diorama out of the park. And I'll have to try harder on my next one I am currently working on, which is Thomas Goes Fishing. Now, I'm not making this for the Telly Lynn. This one will be for me, because I just like making dioramas now, because there's so much fun to do. I am doing the photo from Thomas Goes Fishing, where Thomas is coming out of the tunnel in pain. I said, thank you so much, and yes, I may have missed the deadline, but getting a praise from the Telly Lynn Railway just made my night so much better. I wish them good dry rails and hope to visit the railway one day soon. Because if you don't know, because I don't know what the frick you're doing, the Telly Lynn Railway was an inspiration for Thomas the Tank Engine's narrow gauge engine friends, the Scarlowry Railway, as the Reverend Awdry was a volunteer guard on that railway. So half of the stories for those narrow gauge were based on true events. So, starting from the 30th of June 2025 at 2:55, and actually starting on the 1st of July 2025 at 9:53, and finishing at Saturday the 16th of August 2025, 10:41 p.m. at night, I've certainly had a long journey. But if we took away the time for work and every Thursday for train club, I would say this diorama at least took 3 weeks to make. And this was probably the most fun experience I have ever had the pleasure of ever working on. Thomas the Tank Engine's museum piece will be on display in my bedroom, and I probably will take it to train shows to show off, as this is now my most prized possession, and my favorite thing in the Thomas merch that I have in my collection. And if you want to know how much I might have spent on this, there is an estimate of over $200 just here, because ballast over here and figurines are at least $30 to $50. And then you got the paint pens, which are like $20 each, that I was using, and then I went to normal paints, which are $4.50 each now. So yeah, you're probably looking at about $200 worth of stuff here on this diorama, which is not too bad. But I won't be getting rid of this diorama anytime soon. I've had way too much fun on this, and I can't wait to make more. And if you would like to see a update on Thomas Goes Fishing, let me know what you think in the description comments below. Well, not description, because that's my area, but you know what I mean. Put the comment in the bottom saying, yeah, I want to see the Thomas Goes Fishing diorama. But I'm going to say this, I haven't taken photos or videos of this diorama being made, so if you do want to see it, it will just be a photo probably on the community tab or that. And yeah, so I'm so sorry that this has taken over nearly 2 months to make. I have been that flat out with work, and I have been too exhausted to make these videos. Videos I'm hoping should be soon back to normal, because now that my parents have actually surprised me yesterday with a brand new table to make these dioramas on, so I won't be on the floor anymore like I have been these last few times. Dioramas should be a bit more easier to make now. And there is a rumor, now I'm the only one that knows this, but there might be a rumor that there might be a Thomas the Tank Engine Tommy layout being built in the works by me. I won't say what it is until I've made the track plan. But I'll tell you this one, this layout is going to be a big one. So thank you for sitting through nearly 35 minutes of me talking about my diorama, and music I've used I will put in the description. Yeah, so thanks for watching, and this is the Kiwi Thomas fan signing off, and uploads might not be as regular as they used to be, but please like and subscribe, and I hope you all have a good day or night. Peace.